Hello and welcome back to Billy Ho Sports. Big weekend coming up. We're going back to the spa, Saratoga, for stakes racing. Opening weekend is always a buzz up in New York area. So this weekend we open up with similarly to last year. We have the Kelso Stakes, then we have the Grade 1 Diana, then the Grade 3 Sanford Stakes for the 2-year-olds. Those are the three major races we have our attention this weekend. Tons of new content coming. I've got a video I'm putting together that's going to be kind of like a 3-year-old top 10 rankings type of video, but it's mainly going to focus on the Haskell coming up in a couple of weeks and the Jim Dandy a week after that. So you definitely want to be subscribed to the channel so you don't miss that preview. Click that like button while you're at it. And also, if you're on X, which is formerly Twitter, give me a follow at Billy Ho Sports. Let's get started. Race number 2 is going to be the Grade 3 Kelso. That's going to be 1 mile on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. Post number 1, Call Me Harry, trained by Rick Dutrow. Luis Saez up. 8-year-old by Street Sense. Not much stakes experience. Not really even a strong showing this year versus Optional Claiming Company. So I'm likely not going to use the Rick Dutrow horse. So brings me to post number 2, Mysterious Night, trained by Charlie Appleby, will be ridden by Flavian Pratt. Looked good in his 24 debut, running second behind Ice Chocolate, I should say, in the Grade 3 Poker on June 8th at Saratoga. I think he'll improve off of that effort, off the layoff, bred for the distance, and looks ready for the win. Number 3 is Northern Invader. Sherry DeVoe is the trainer. Jose Ortiz, the jockey. 4-year-old colt ran 4th in the Arlington Stakes. Set the pace early, but kind of gave way down the stretch, going 8.5 furlongs. So the cut back to a mile should improve chances. Hasn't had a lot of stake success, though, from Northern Invader. So likely a not use or a toss. Post number 4 is Talk of the Nation. Todd Pletcher is the trainer. Irad Ortiz, the jockey. 3rd place finish in that Poker Stakes. Was second by a head in his previous race. Opening verse, lost to Carl Spackler, who's in this race as well. Top level contender, top jockey on board. Got to pay attention to that one. That does bring us to number 5, which is Carl Spackler, trained by Chad Brown, ridden by Tyler Gaffleone. And disappointed a little bit in the Poker Stakes with the 5th place finish. Was in the mix down the stretch, but really just got out kicked more or less. Didn't lose by a lot, but it was 5th by maybe a length and a half, 2 lengths, something like that. So he did win his previous 3 races to that, though. That dates back to last August. Chad Brown is a 29% turnaround with a beaten favorite. So I fully expect to bounce back in this spot. Number 6 is going to be Repo Rocks, but that one is entered for main track only. So unless it's taken off the turf, we won't see Repo Rocks. Let's take a look at some past performances. All right, so race number 2 on the card, 1 mile inner turf, Grade 3 Kelso, 175K on the line, 4-year-olds and up. And I did mention inner turf, so that does slightly matter. Not really going to be looking to use the number 1 horse, Call Me Harry. Just beaten by weaker, failed as poor speed figures. Doesn't really fit with what I want to do in this race. Now, Mysterious Night, definitely a different story there. I think he's ready to fire. Flavian Pratt's on fire. Should move up on the second start. Really looked good closing with William Buick riding the Poker. I don't think it's a downgrade at all. Going to Pratt, probably a slight upgrade with the way he's been riding lately. So I'm really leaning toward this one from the barn of Charlie Appleby. Appleby is started off a little bit sluggish over here on these turf horses, but he's really picked it up over the last couple of weeks. So Mysterious Night going to probably be a top choice. Northern Invader, I think I'm not going to be getting to. You got to start taking some stands. And, did a nice win in the allowance previous, going a mile. but really the speed figures aren't quite there for me. I'd like him to be a little bit quicker coming home. Uh, is plenty fast enough in the middle of the race, so could be a factor. Probably going to see him on the lead coming around the final turn for home, but will he be able to hang on? Who knows? It depends on how contested the pace is. And this is talk of the nation. Like I said, Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz, eligible to improve, third off the layoff. 2 wins in the last 7 starts. Pretty solid outing. The third in the poker was pretty good behind, but was behind the 2-horse who we just discussed. So, talk of the nation definitely has the speed, but can he hang on down the stretch? That's the question. And here's number 5, Carl Spackler. Like I said, 2 3/4 lengths was all the deficit was in that last race, but definitely was in the mix down the stretch. Just didn't have the kick. It was a little bit on the. I mean, it wasn't exactly a slow pace by any means. It was pretty honest, but it was a slow opening quarter, so that really helps giving horses gas in the tank coming home. So Carl Spackler, I think if he runs back to this 97 like he did in opening verse, shouldn't be a problem. Got plenty of speed coming home and plenty of middle speed to go along with that. So let's go ahead and finalize the selections. Okay, well, I am going to go with the number 2, Mysterious Night. And then number 5, Carl Spackler is definitely a close, like a 1 and a 1A. I would put those 2 on top and then go all underneath. I do have a slight lean to the 2 for the win. Pratt's on fire. Applebee's heating up. So that's going to be my selections for the Kelso. By the way, please remember to subscribe to the channel. Click on that like button while you're at it. And give me a follow on X at Billy Ho Sports for all the latest racing content. So now let's get into the Diana. Grade 1, 9 furlongs on the dirt, fillies and mares, 4-year-old and up. Post number 1 is Moria. Kevin Attard is the trainer. Tyler Gaffleone rides. Very talented 5-year-old by Go Sapper, but making her 24 debut. So I think I'm probably going to have to see one first. She was very successful in her 4-year-old season, but a win, 4 seconds and 2/3, pretty solid. But with the 8 months off, I really just do have to see one. Post number 2 is Coppice. That's trained by Chad Brown. Frankie Dettori rides. I like this one. Lost to Chili Flag at Churchill Downs on Derby Day by just a neck, but then came back and was a bit on the disappointing side, 6th place in the Just a Game Stakes. Chili Flag won that one, but she was just 2 lengths back from the big crowd of horses closing. So there is a theme, as Chad Brown, I think, has 5 entries in this race. So we'll be calling his name a lot. Post number 3, Mission of Joy. Grand Motion is the trainer. Johnny Velasquez rides. Quite a competitive 4-year-old filly by Kitten's Joy. Finished 3rd by a half in the Just a Game. She was 4th in the Distaff Turf Mile back in the fall. She hasn't won a stakes or a race since the Grade 3 Regret last year, so probably not going to use her. Number 4 is Didia, and that's Ignacio Correas. Jose Ortiz is the jockey. 6-year-old mare just keeps getting it done. And I doubted her in the last one, and I paid the price. She went off 9-1 in the New York Stakes on June 7th and proved them all wrong, including me again. And I guess maybe I'm just looking at the trainer, Ignacio Correas, and I'm like, well, he's not Chad Brown, and he's not, this, that, and the other trainer. And I guess I just dismiss it over that. I'm not really sure, but I'm not going to dismiss her this time around, because I think if she runs anything close to that race again, she wins. She went inside out, closed hard down the stretch in that race to get clear. But she didn't really show a whole lot of speed in her previous races, though. So that's what I'm wondering, was that a one-hit wonder, or is she just kind of that inconsistent type of filly? Some of them are like that. Post number 5 is Gina Romantica. Chad Brown is the trainer. Manny Franco will ride. I kind of excused the first out, seventh place in the Jenny Wiley at Keeneland, but then had a layoff of nearly 2 months and came back and ran fifth in the just a game. She was running hard down the stretch, but did and appeared to bobble just a little bit. So I couldn't really tell if it was just a lack of a late kick or that bobble kind of just caused her to lose ground. But I think she'll offer value. She's just as good talent and pedigree wise as any of these horses in the field. So I will be looking at the tote board Saturday on her. Number 6 is White Beam. Chad Brown once again, red hot Flavian Pratt riding. She was caught late by Chili Flag in that just a game stakes. 5-year-old mare is the defending champ of this race, defeated in Italian and Feve Rover last year. She's making her third start of the year off back-to-back second place finishes. So she got clipped, I believe, in the first out. Beauray or I forget, or Bogay Stakes at Keeneland. That was the one Nisi Marie caught her at the wire, came out of the clouds really. So I think White Beam is ready also. 07 Fluffy Socks, that's another Chad Brown. Joelle Rosario will have the mount. She won by 7 in the grade 3 Gallerette last out, drove home hard on the soft Pimlico turf that day. I think her best shot in this one is probably to have the turf soften up. Maybe they get some rain. Doesn't really look like there's going to be any, but you never know with Saratoga. It could pop up from anywhere this time of year. So that brings us to post 8, Nisi Marie. Robert Reed is the trainer. Louis Saez, the jockey. Closed like a banshee in the Jenny Wiley, like I just mentioned, to catch White Beam at the wire. She then backed that effort up with a nice second place finish in the New York Stakes behind Dadia. So definitely going to have my eye on Nisi Marie in this race. Could offer some value. Post number 9, Evie Jets. That's Mertcon Kenter Marcy, the trainer. Dylan Davis rides. Filly seems to want the lead out of the gate, making her third start of 24. Good middle speed, but late rally seems to come up short sometimes. Probably going to toss. Post 10, Chili Flag, Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz. What can you say? Her 24 debut, she didn't quite have it, but reeled off 3 straight graded stakes victories after that. Great speed, late kick, prime position to make it 4 in a row. She will have to deal with a bit of a problem. I don't think the outside post 10 is going to be terrible bad from the way they break, because they've got a long straightaway before they hit that first turn. So I think Chili Flag will be fine. It's a stone closer anyway, so she'll be in position early. Irad's got the helm, so no problem there. Let's take a look at the past performances. All right, the Dirty Diana. So we do go a mile and an eighth on the inner turf, and you can see where the start's at. I was trying to tell you, the start is right at the top of the stretch, basically. So they got the entire stretch drive past the finish line before they even hit the first turn. So that should be ample time for all the horses to get into position. So I'm not too worried about the post positioning here. I do think the speed is going to matter. Late kick 90, the middle speed. So that's good, consistent across the board. So, like I said, Moria, I'm going to wait on. Hasn't raced in more than 8 months. And plus, poor graded stakes trainer. 6% and 89 starts. So not really digging. And I don't know that I would dig the inside post exactly. But like I said, she's a closer. So, but like I told you previously, I'm going to wait. So this is Judamonte and Chad Brown and Frankie Dettori. Coppice. There's no reason why this horse, just on connections and everything, sired by Kingman, who is a very, very strong sire. 2.62 production index. That's huge. So this horse has got to be considered. Definitely with Dettori. Will probably need a little extra kick down the stretch, but I think she can provide that. I just don't think she was quite herself. It was just, I mean, she did run a monster second by a neck to Chili Flag in the distaff, and then came off of that the next month and just didn't quite have it. But I think a bounce back is in order. So, Mission of Joy, this was one that I think that I'm going to pass on. It was a nice closing third, but I don't think that this one's going to be in the mix for me. Eligible to improve though, and I do like Grand Motion as a trainer, especially with turf horses. And Kitten's Joy, anything from the cats, the kittens, and things of that nature has usually got good sire. So not one that I'm going to just take a stand against. And here's the deal. What can you say? 101, the only one with a triple digit Brisnet figure coming into this race off that huge performance in the New York. So Saratoga, month later, let's roll them back. I don't see any reason why she can't win. And here's Gina Romantica. You can see how the disappointing speed figures and the disappointing seventh, the disappointing fifth. She was a little bit better. She just got out kicked in the stretch. And maybe she's just not as good as I think she is. That might be my downfall. So, but I mean, Into Mischief, the sire, 2.49 sire production index, 1.0 is the national average. So if we did happen to have an off track, I don't know that an Into Mischief progeny would have any problems there. Definitely an expensive horse. So on pedigree and price alone, she should compete. So she better show up this time, or there's going to be some questions to be answered. White Beam, Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt, Judd Amante. I mean, another one that's going to be right there. I mean, just gave it up to Chili Flag down the stretch, lost it by a neck, Nisi Marie previous to that in the Bogey. So what can you say? Matriarch and First Lady last year wasn't as good, but that last year, that Diana was a monster. I still remember watching that race going, dang, I can't believe it. I was so on in Italian in that race, and White Beam showed up. So she could do it again. I do think she's going to need to run a heck of a lot faster than a 90. So, but she's never run anything that I think like 98 is the par we're looking for. And the 95 was as or 93 in last year's Diana. I don't know if she's got the speed. Fluffy Socks, I'm going to pass on, even though they got the big 98. I thought that field, 5-horse field that she ran against, wasn't very good. She just easily won as a 3-5 favorite. Nisi Marie, 99, second place to Dadia in the New York Grade 1. She is moving along nicely this year, and I think will offer great value. 8th in prime power, but I think she's better than that. I guess they're probably guessing she's going to bounce this next race, which is possible, but it is only her third off the layoff. So she could still run at or close to that 99 and definitely round out some exactas and some exotics. And Evie Jets, like I said, not quite there. Just likes the lead, but I don't think the speed's there. Chili Flag definitely dialed it back to a 91, but still a good consistent race across the board from a mile. Definitely won't mind the stretch out, as you can see how much she closes. So I think the stretch out to 9 furlongs is going to be just fine. And there's Venti Valentine, which is main track only. So we're not going to worry about that until if it's actually pulled off the turf. Then none of this means anything. Your handicapping completely changes. So let's round out the selections. So definitely not going to doubt Chili Flag again. She's beaten most of this field more than one occasion. So I think the distance is fine. Number 2, Coppice is so well bred. I love Dettori riding on the turf. And then you have to include number 4, Dadia, because she might run right back to her last. And I need to have a slice of Gina Romantica just because I kind of backed her a lot in last year's Philly turf races. And it did take her a couple of races before she hit last year in the Grade 1 First Lady. She got her start mid-season last year, and it took 2 races, and then she hit the third. So that's the cycle she's on now. So she should offer great value. Then you really have White Beam in there, Nisi Marie. All of those look great. It's going to be tough to narrow down, but those are the top selections. So, I mean, you've got the 2, the 4, the 5, the 6, and the 8. So that's not really that bad taking that many horses in this field. Just depends on how you bet them. You don't need to box off 6 of them or 5 of them. You can play 2 of them on top. I could play Dadia and Chili Flag on top, and then use White Beam, Gina Romantica, and Coppice underneath, something like that. All right, so let's get into the final race that we're going to cover. This is going to be the Sanford, and it's a 6 furlongs dirt sprint for 2-year-olds. Post number 1 is Minty, trained by Todd Pletcher, ridden by Johnny V. Velasquez. Won his debut going 90K by just a nose, 5 furlongs at Aqueduct. But Johnny V got cute in the end. He had the race well in hand and almost got the horse nailed at the wire, held on by a nose. I know sometimes these jockeys know they have it all the way, but that would have been a serious embarrassment to him if he would have took his foot off the gas and got beat at the wire. But he didn't. Got a fun fact about him when we get to past performances too, so stay tuned. This one is sired by City of Light, and also, which is the same sire of Fierceness, also the same dam. These two are full brothers. Where have we heard that before? Oh, that was Mage and Fierceness, I think. No, not Fierceness. My apologies. Anyway, Fierceness is a full brother to Minty. Heavily bet in his debut. Should be a good play. Post 2, Mr. Squeaky Wheel. Kevin Rice is the trainer. Jose Ortiz. He won his debut going 4.5 on the synthetic at 30K. Upgraded jockey, but and bred to sprint, but probably won't use it. Post 3, Baby Dukes. Robert Reed, Jose Lescano. Won his debut at 42K going 4.5. Might offer some value. I know Lescano can be sneaky good at Saratoga. But post number 4 is soon to be king. George Weaver, Eric Cancel combo, making his 3rd start, broke his maiden last out going 5.5 at 90K. Has yet to have a smooth trip, has bobbled at the start or done this, that, or the other in the first 2. So might be an interesting play. Post number 5 is 3 Echoes, trained by Steve Asmussen. Flavian Pratt rides. Also making his 3rd start, made the jump up to stakes competition, running 3rd in the Tremont Stakes at Saratoga on June 6th. That was after that first maiden breaker. So 3 Echoes, good-looking horse. Just ran 3rd behind post number 6, who is Studley Do Right, trained by John Robb. And it's either Javier, I want to say Javier Perez as the jockey. Colts 2 for 2, won the Tremont with a fierce closing drive. 4-5 favorite Touchy had the lead. Then actually the 3 Echoes made the inside move and took the lead from Touchy. Then Touchy actually dug deep, came back, passed him up, but didn't see the flying Studley coming late, who nailed them both at the wire. So Studley Do Right, just on the name alone, I think should be the top choice. Post 7, War Tax, is trained by Carlos Martin. Javier Castellano rides. After winning his maiden, he tried to jump to a 250K Bashford Manor Stakes at Churchill Downs on June 30th. Finished 8th by 20 plus links. Big time setback, in my opinion. I'm passing on this one. Post number 8 is Moplex, Jeremiah Englehart. Irad Ortiz rides, rolled with Irad aboard by 10 lengths in his debut for 75K. He'll be well bet with Irad on board. So let's take a look at the past performances and see if we can parse out who the best 2-year-old is in this race. All right, when it comes down to the 2-year-olds, I generally lean on class I lean on trainer. I lean on jockey a lot more because you only got like most of these 1 or 2 starts. So you really don't have a large enough sample size. Breeding is big, like I said, City of Light and Nona Bell. So Repo Stables, 81. Like I said, Velasquez had it by 5, won by a nose. He's not going to make that mistake again. I think Minty is definitely in the mix. Passing on Mr. Squeaky Wheel, I think anything below an 80. There's too many horses that ran 80 and up speed figure to mess with anybody below. So Dukes, maybe Dukes is out too. Soon to be King, improved to a 78. So the next one up, if he did improve, could prove very good. Already, Weaver's already claimed him back. So he got claimed right out of the gate in that maiden, and then got moved right back to Weaver. So that tells you a little something anyway. But I'll pass on that one. 3 Echoes, bred to sprint. This is what I find interesting. When you get down lower in these average win distance, it gets down to 4.8. So that's more toward the sprinting, but 4.8 is almost too low. I feel like that's 4.8 furlongs is the distance you were talking about here. So I don't really like the 4.8. I would rather see it up more like 6. Like Studley Do Right 7.1. That's right at the perfect, where he can go either way. Sired by Nyquist, who was deemed a sprinter, but then turned around and won the Kentucky Derby. So that's big time. So going with the pedigree and going with the trainer. John Robb is actually very good with 2-year-olds. And Javier Perez, he's 1-for-1 riding this horse. So he's rode him in both victories, I should say. So he's definitely well versed with the horse. So I like that. War Tax. And then you have Moplex 81, 1x10. That's definitely a choice. So I do think I have this narrowed down pretty good. So let's take a look at what we got. Okay, so 2-year-olds are definitely hard to handicap. Like I said, I lean on trainers and jockeys plus breeding a lot more. The breeding in Studley Do Right, like I said, is by Nyquist. Javier Perez has 4 wins in 11 starts riding 2-year-olds. So that's a good bump for him. Number 1, Minty, there as well. Minty ridden by Johnny V. Johnny V has a whopping 8 wins in 10 starts on the 2-year-olds. So, he's fire with the 2-year-olds. Pletcher is obviously one of the best among developing juveniles, as is Steve Asmussen, who trains the 5-horse 3 Echoes. Flavian Pratt guiding him. Ran well last out. Moplex ran lights out in his debut with Irad aboard. He's got a shot. So these are your choices. One of those 4 wins this race. So I'm definitely pretty confident about that. But I do lean Studley Do Right for the win. So if I had to make a win bet, I would go there. I think it's really close between Minty and Moplex next. And then I think I would put 3 Echoes down a little bit below that. So that will do it. Preview and picks for the 3 big stakes races this Saturday at the Spa. Remember to subscribe to the channel, if I could say it correctly. Then you click that like button. And then you just go over to X and you give Billy Ho Sports a follow. Not necessarily in that order. Thanks for watching. See you soon.